All right, let's jump right in. If you're prepping for exams and you're thinking about India's future, this is for you. Today, we are going to dive deep into the incredible work of economic historian Joel Mokyr to tackle a huge question. What's it really going to take for India to become a global knowledge powerhouse? Let's get started.
Now, we've all heard that old saying, necessity is the mother of invention. But Joel Mokyr comes along and flips it completely on its head. He says, look, just needing something, that's not enough. The real secret sauce, the thing that actually matters, is having the capacity to respond to that need. And you know what? That one little shift in thinking changes absolutely everything.
So, that leads us to the big question for today, doesn't it? If just needing something isn't enough, then what is it? What are the real building blocks that create this capacity to innovate, to grow, and to build a true knowledge economy? Well, let's find out. Here's our game plan. We're going to start with Mokyr's big idea. Then we'll break down the two types of knowledge he talks about. After that, we'll see how they create a powerful engine for growth, check out Europe's historical winning formula, and then apply all of that to the Indian challenge today. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with the key takeaways for your exams. Okay, first up, Mokyr's core idea. And this is all about getting past a really common but pretty limited way of thinking about how countries develop. You hear this all the time, right? The standard economic argument is, hey, if you just get the financial incentives right, throw enough money at a problem, create enough demand, then poof, innovation and knowledge will just sort of appear, almost like magic. But Moyer says, hold on, knowledge is not a tap you can just turn on with money. His big insight is that you have to build the underlying capacity to respond. And building that capacity, the institutions, the culture, the skills, that is so much harder and way more complex. So the key takeaway here is it's about the whole system, not just the stimulus. So this brings us to the very foundation of his entire argument. Mokyr does this brilliant thing where he splits all knowledge into two different types. And really understanding this distinction is the key to everything else. First, you've got what he calls propositional knowledge. The easiest way to think about this is the what and the why. This is your deep, fundamental scientific understanding of how the world works. It's the theory. So, for example, understanding the laws of thermodynamics, that's pure propositional knowledge. And then, second, there's prescriptive knowledge. This is the how. This is the practical, hands-on, applied stuff. It's the techniques, the engineering, the inventions. It's all about making things actually work. So if thermodynamics is the what, actually knowing how to design and build a steam engine that doesn't blow up, that's prescriptive knowledge. Now, this slide lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have propositional knowledge. That's all about scientific principles and discovery, understanding why it works. On the other side, prescriptive knowledge. That's about techniques and application, figuring out how to make it work. One is the bedrock of pure science, and the other is the absolute engine of technology. Okay, and for everyone studying for exams, here's a super easy way to lock this in. Just remember P and P. Propositional is the principle. Prescriptive is the practice. Principle and practice. Simple as that. So we have these two kinds of knowledge. But the real magic, the force that literally powered the Industrial Revolution, happens when these two start talking to each other. And this is the engine right here. It's a beautiful positive feedback loop. It starts with a new scientific discovery. That's your propositional knowledge. That discovery inspires someone to invent a new piece of technology. That's your prescriptive knowledge. But then, that new tech, maybe a better telescope or microscope, allows scientists to make even deeper discoveries. And the cycle just keeps repeating, getting faster and faster, driving incredible growth. So the next big question is, why Europe? Why did this incredible feedback loop suddenly take off there, in early modern Europe, and not somewhere else? Well, Mokyr points to a really unique set of historical circumstances. And what he identifies is this fascinating paradox. On the one hand, Europe had political fragmentation. It wasn't one big unified empire. It was a bunch of different states all competing with each other. And what were they competing for? The best minds, the top scientists, engineers, and inventors. But at the same time, there was this unified intellectual world, the Republic of Letters, where ideas and discoveries could just flow freely across all those borders. So you had this amazing mix of political competition and intellectual cooperation. And you know it, we've got a mnemonic for this. Just think FREE, ideas. The political fragmentation plus the Republic of Letters created an environment for elite knowledge to circulate. FREE. That unique combination was really Europe's winning formula.
Okay, so let's bring it all back home. How does this powerful framework actually help us understand the specific challenges that India is facing today?
Well, when we apply Mokir's lens to India, the source material points to some serious structural disconnects. What does that mean? It means that feedback loop we talked about, in India, it's pretty weak. The bridges between our scientists and our engineers are rickety. The connections between pure discovery and practical application are not strong. And the link between the factory floor and the research lab is often missing. And our last mnemonic for today really helps frame this problem. Think of it as India having a weak BALL. We need to build stronger B bridges between application and discovery, and between the L, lab, and the production line. Fixing these weak bridges, these disconnects, that is the core task ahead. All right, we have covered a lot of ground. The theory, the history, the modern challenge. So now, let's pull it all together into one single comprehensive snapshot for you. This is your ultimate revision slide. So let's run through it one last time. Number 1, the core idea. Growth needs capacity, not just incentives. 2, the knowledge types. Propositional for principle, prescriptive for practice. Remember, P and P. 3, the engine of growth, that powerful feedback loop between the two. 4, Europe's secret sauce, political fragmentation plus the Republic of Letters. That was our FRE mnemonic. 5, India's challenge, fixing the structural disconnects, our weak BALL. And finally, the real goal here isn't just a few isolated wins. It's about building a deep, sustained culture of innovation across the board. And that leaves us with this final, really profound thought. The challenge for India isn't just about economics or policy, it's cultural. How do we take our deep, ancient reverence for knowledge embodied in goddesses like Saraswati and transform it from something we just worship into a living, breathing, everyday force that drives the entire nation forward? That right there is the real question.